Regular doors are so boring. Let's make a secret one instead. Come on. This video is sponsored by my friends at DAP. Maybe it's just me, but I think that secret doors are like literally the coolest things ever. I've always wanted one in my house, but I wasn't quite sure where to put it until I was done renovating my basement last year, which you might remember, and I was left with this really weird like closet door that's just hiding a bunch of my sprinkler valves. But the good news is that because it's just a random door, it is super easy to turn this thing into a hidden door, and I'm going to show you how I did that in this video. Starting with demoing all of the trim on the wall that I'm putting this accent wall slash hidden door. Well, that's annoying because I'm gonna probably have to fix that. I don't think I got enough panels to cover this spot here. Good thing this video is sponsored by a spackling company. So my own little secret sauce for this project are these vertical wood panels. I actually used these in my guest room makeover as well. They are amazing. They're not cheap, I'm not gonna lie to you, but they cover really well. They have felt backing and they're really easy to cut and work with. As you can see, I'm literally cutting them on the floor of my basement. And yes, I know I have to fix my dust collector. I like lost the dust collection port to my saw. But anyway, these can be cut with pretty much any type of saw. And then it was time to attach them to the wall, starting with the door. Here's the method to my madness. I want this first row to fit around the hinge so that when this opens, you can't see the door. So I'm lining this up and I'm marking where the hinge is. And then I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna cut this away. It's one. Now, each one of these will fit around the hinge, and then the next row will start here. So I may have to paint that black just to hide whatever piece is still showing, but this will now allow me to open the door and have the hinges still be in use without it worrying about hitting the next piece. Work smarter, and also maybe a little bit harder, but it's worth it. All right, let's get the other pieces cut out and get this thing up on the door. Woo, that works. That'll work. Let's get this thing up on the door. Make sure it's straight. Rockin' and rollin', baby. Rockin' and roll, baby. Oh, don't celebrate yet. We gotta get this thing on the door first. Don't celebrate yet. Too early to celebrate. So because the panels on this door will be in motion as the door opens and closes, I wanted to make sure that they're on there forever. So I used DAP's HD Max Construction Adhesive and applied a whole bunch of it to the door behind each panel before then applying the panel and then screwing it into place. This will just make sure that the panels don't really like go anywhere whenever I open and close this door. Oh. I should check if this is level first. That would be really helpful. It's actually dead level. So little hack here, if you are using these panels, if you use black screws and screw into the felt, you literally cannot see the screws. It's pretty great. The only panel that gave me an issue was this one though, and you'll see why right here. Woo! Now we can start getting excited. I think the felt is like getting stuck right here. All right, why won't we close? Oh, because this is touching the hinge. Okay, figured it out. Just gotta trim this one. Should be okay. Better? All right, this is all working the way it should right now. That was the problem, huh? All right, I have an idea. I'm gonna screw one in from this side. That's where we're flexing. I found it. I found it! It's fine. As long as it has a little flex here, I think we're okay. I think a magnet will help. Next. So as with any project you do that requires putting panels on a wall, it's really important to get that first panel up perfectly because the rest will then follow. So that's why I took my time to just make sure that first panel was A, looking straight, B, able to close with the hinges, and C, looking good, to be quite honest. Also, as you'll see, I did have some shims that I put underneath each one of the panels to make sure the spacing was consistent on the bottom, because obviously if the panels are touching too close to the ceiling or the door will not open. Another thing I aesthetically wanted is I really want this to look like an accent wall. I want you to look at this wall and not see a door. So that is why I decided to go all the way up to the ceiling. And it honestly works out fine because the basement ceilings are pretty low. So when you're opening the door, you're really only seeing like 6 inches of drywall above that door anyway. And that's fine by me. Width-wise across the door though, that's a different story. I wanted the door to be its own standalone panel, so when you pull it open, it looks nice and neat. So I did cut the last panel a little bit thinner. Yay! Is this rubbing? It is. Okay, let's trim that a tiny bit. Much better, okay. Also, side note, when I cut the last panel, it actually just worked out perfectly that the felt piece is the piece that's going to be covering the smaller door opening on this side of the door. So I was really, really excited to see that this door was fully hidden by the time that this was done. And at this point, it was then time to move on to adding panels to the wall and making this a true hidden door. I gotta figure out how many go on this side. Marked it, let's cut it. Now in full transparency, I did not use construction adhesive for the panels that I applied to the drywall because I'm probably gonna be running some electrical stuff soon and I wanna be able to access the drywall and then put them back up. So I just attached them with screws and I did that in the guest room as well and they've been totally fine, so it's gonna be totally fine. I would still definitely recommend using construction adhesive for the door though, because you'll see I'm pulling on these panels to use them as the door handle as well, and I just don't want them to go anywhere. Also, remember how I said any saw works for cutting these panels? Yeah, I used a jigsaw also here because I had to cut around a soffit in the wall, but in hindsight, a handsaw could have worked just as fine. Very cool. Let's call that a night. We'll do the tough stuff tomorrow. Sweet! Woo! Hi friends, day 2. Wall's looking good. Today we're gonna tackle this corner. I've already cut pieces at 45 degrees, so when they meet here, it's a nice little seam. There's not like a big gap there. I will say it was a little bit of a challenge cutting these at 45 degrees. I'll talk more about that in a second. But the other thing that's gonna be challenging now is we have some weird angles in the ceiling that I'm gonna have to start following now for the rest of this build. So we're gonna do that. Luckily, I'm only putting a couple panels on this wall and then I'm hanging a gym mirror, so it'll be just a couple of panels that give me a little bit of run for my money, but we'll figure it out. So let's get started. I want this to like match up, but I don't want it to be too tight because I need the door to still open, you know? Okay, I think we can do this. I think we can make it work. We in there. This is a little extra, but originally I wanted to match the corner at like a 45 degree, but spoiler alert, that didn't work very well, and we'll get to that in a second. I ended up having a workaround and it worked out just fine, but yeah, just skip that step. Like, I hope this matches up though. I'm a little nervous about it. Let's see. Ooh. So if you have ceilings or walls in your house like I have in my house that aren't perfectly straight and have weird angles, I highly recommend getting an angle finder. I will link the one that I have along with all of the materials I use in this project below in the video description. But having this was so handy. I was able to find the angles that I needed in order to cut the panels down, not just for that one spot, but also for where there's like a beveled ceiling corner as well. This is a little tricky. We're gonna figure it out though. I want some spacers, so like we'll use this as a spacer. Nice. Ow. I think it needs to go up higher. So this was the point where I decided to abandon the idea of having that edge mitered together because these walls are just not perfect. Okay, I gotta get this one off the backing and then figure out where to go from here. I don't know where to put my safety glasses. They're probably on my head. Oh no, they're not this time. Shocker. Shocker, they're usually on my head. Okay. Let's get this last piece up. I thought I was gonna have to miter it, but I don't. I gotta fix this one because I don't like how this is sitting. First, start fresh on that. It actually works. Okay. Whew. On to the next wall. Thank goodness. I really wanted this wall to extend a little bit past where the door is, just to give that nice full effect of there being an accent wall. I also want to hang a mirror at some point on this second wall that I'm working on. So after cutting one part of the panel to a 45-degree bevel and then just trimming the bottom, I attached them the same way that I attached the rest of the panels to the drywall.
Wanna dance with me? Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. Let's get a mirror up. How about that? Yeah.
I think one of the secret ingredients to a successful hidden door project is that the entire wall that you're putting the door on needs to feel like it has purpose other than just being an accent wall. It needs to kind of like blend into the environment a little bit. And since this is going to be a home gym, I thought it'd be really fun to add a mirror and line it up with the planks and kind of build the rest of the accent wall around it.
I was about to be like, who let me out of the house looking like this, but I'm in my own house?
So if you've been following along for a while, you'll know I like to use as much material as possible when working. I don't really like to waste materials. So because these were 8-foot tall panels on a 6-foot tall wall, I was able to use some of the offcuts to build around this mirror and kind of make it look like it belongs in the wall.
Cool, cool, cool. Of course, I ran out of nails on the last one. Why does it always happen? All right, let's try that again. The bottom's on and then the slat wall install is done. Woo!
So while I absolutely love these panels, my one little complaint is that if you cut them too short, they like fall away from the felt. So I did have to nail them to the wall, but no big deal.
Yeah! Oh my God, it looks so good! Yeah, I'm stoked on this. Just gotta do little final touches, make it look nice, but dang. Let's patch this and let it dry overnight so we could do that tomorrow.
So like I suspected, I did not have enough panels to cover up the torn drywall, so I used my favorite DAP Dry Deck spackling to cover this all up. It goes on pink and it dries white, so there's no guessing to when it is ready for sanding. But I let that dry and I moved on to some other tasks in the meantime. While these panels come in different finishes, they were either too light or too dark, so I opted for an unfinished panel instead and decided to stain it in this richer medium brown color. I believe this one is called Golden Oak. Actually, I'll link it below in the materials, but it just brought a lot of warmth to the space, and honestly, before, the bright wood with the dark felt was making my eyes go a little wild, so I'm really happy that I decided to stain it. Side note, I know I mentioned these panels were not really like budget friendly, so if you are looking to do this budget friendly, you could definitely paint the wall black and then attach these slats individually by purchasing 1x2s at the home improvement store or also cutting down some plywood. I will say though, having the felt backing is great because it provided some extra sound deadening down here, so it's not as like echoey. I don't know, I personally think that these were a great investment. But anyway, on to the rest of the project. At this point, as you can see, that dry decks was white, which means it was dry, and so I sanded it down and then applied that missing piece of trim before filling in all of my cracks with Alex Plus caulking. This stuff is great. Not only does it make everything look super clean and super professional, it is ready for painting in about 30 minutes, so I was able to apply the caulking and also paint the wall and patch the baseboard in the same day. And last step is to go back to the closet door for a sec.
I want to put a magnet on this. Doesn't need it, but just in case. Just want this door to stay closed when it's closed, you know?
Quick callback to earlier, decided to add a magnet to keep the door closed when it is closed, which was kind of tricky because it was a tight fit to make sure everything was lining up.
Try to get back here. Let's see. I was locked in here. Come forward a little bit.
I also decided to smooth out and paint the side of that door black at some point as well, but I don't think I showed that in this video, to be quite honest.
Oh, that works. Woo! Yes! Let's do some touch-up paint. Don't make fun of my choice of paintbrush. I literally cannot find a single paintbrush in my shop. I don't know why.
One of my favorite things about doing things myself is that I can make things look the way that I want them to look, and this accent wall with hidden door is no exception. Look how cool this looks. Like I mentioned, I have always wanted a hidden door in my house, and now your girl got one, and she made this happen all by herself. This was a really fun 2-3-ish day project that pushed my creativity a little bit and my problem solving skills a little bit, and I really could not be happier with the way that this turned out. And look, this space is not done yet. I cannot wait to show you what it's going to look like soon and when it's a fully functioning home gym, but you're going to have to wait for that because we're not there quite yet. That being said, if you like this project and you want to hang out and wait and see what this home gym turns out to look like, definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell. Cannot wait to share all the projects I have going on with you in 2025. Let's make some more magic, friends. Happy DIYing.